another energy.
Cary, if I may,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. In that, how do you find the balance when you're playing these bad guys?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you justify this? And
Well, if you have to justify it, I think you're probably...
I mean,
No,
that
no, no,
you're
but
such
I want
a
to explain
beautiful,
that.
spiritual, high spiritual being of
I
light.
appreciate that.
And
The perception of... Yeah.
oh, absolutely.
Well, I've had this question many times and never been able to answer it quite this way. So for a consciousness site, I'd like to answer it this way. That the justification is not a justification in its normal perception. In that, as long as the energy is pure and it has a direction and it's moving in the direction of consciousness, then it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And it's a matter of, I think today, a lot of judgments. When you use the word justification, it equals judgment on the other side. And I know a lot of judgments today are made from what we used to experience in the 50s as stereotyping and a lot of prejudice. I think there's a certain prejudice, unless you do understand at the core where someone is coming from and what the intention and purpose is. So, not as a justification, but purely as a reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing, opposite to the energy of who I am. That's why they call it acting, number one. So if in fact you are called on in this job to play a role, then that's what I've been doing. Number one, playing a role as an actor. I think actor also can be considered a role on the planet. Actors coming from the tradition of the Greek theater, where everyone, the audience, the chorus was there to inspire a metamorphosis, a growing, a spiritual upliftment, so that the whole group could experience that. For me, I know that by playing bad guys, that I also inspire, not necessarily evil, but bring to the forefront an energy which I certainly have had a tragic experience with, but bringing to the audience a way for them to release their own anger. It's a vicarious kind of on the cross thing that I do.
So, in other words, you're helping others that would possibly in life do dangerous and more dark things. They get to vicariously live through you some of these characters that you play, correct? Because in a sense, so then you're bringing, in your own words, from a conversation we had prior, you're bringing the light into the darkness.
Absolutely. One thing I've understood, especially with the power of Hollywood, which is what is destroying itself at the moment, I've always felt a deep responsibility for the power of that, and also how to transmute that energy. I always inject into the bad characters that I play, not anywhere in the script, but certainly of my own making, an energy where a bad guy questions himself, he doubts himself for a moment, he has an emotional moment. To me, I think one of the biggest problems we have on the planet this moment, because of Hollywood certainly, and the power to put those images out, we're sitting in a war situation that is exactly the kind of energy that we see in good guy, bad guy films. It's us and them, and we're always good. And I think what we found this last 8 years of political America, that certainly in the name of good, there's been a lot of things that aren't so good. People are starting to question who the good guys are. And in my estimation, without a rebellious energy in America, without creative energy, without the R&D that we lost quite a while back in corporate America, that kind of freedom to create, freedom without fear, is something that we're lacking today. And certainly, albeit a very twisted structure to play bad guys, but it's always that rebelliousness.